Peace, family. What's good? Dub Washington here. And what I do is two things. First and foremost, I ensure that everybody eats. And secondly, I make the banks compete to lend you money. So today I want to bring you a presentation to show you how to go from 0 to 150,000 without proof of income. Now, as we get into this presentation, we're going to be seeing that I go very in depth with my teachings, and I just want to bless you guys with completely free information, right? I want to see everybody eat. And whenever you lack the information, it's hard for you to propel in this financial literacy space. So what I want to do today is just come and bless the people. I just want to come and love on you if that's all right. You know what I'm saying? So let's jump into it. First and foremost, anytime that you're watching something, it is very critical that you cut distractions. You want to make sure that you are in a quiet environment. You want to make sure that you don't have anything that's going to take your attention off what you're focusing on, because the mind can only focus on one thing at a time, despite people being able to think that they can multitask. You feel me? So I need you to really, really dive in and kind of cut distractions. Make sure the environment is suitable for you to learn. Now, if you failed in funding before, it's okay. I know what it feels like to have a 426 credit score. In 2016, believe it or not, I had a 426 credit score. And what happened was I went to CarMax and thought that I was going to get a brand new Honda Accord. Funny, right? Well, I was politely laughed out of the door and they said that they couldn't do anything for me. And I had racked up about 6 or 7 inquiries, right? So during that time, I'm like, okay, I was depressed. I didn't know what to do. And I didn't really understand the importance of credit and how beneficial that it could be, because I was very much cash heavy. So that's pretty much the journey of where I'm coming from that I want to break down to each and every single one of you to ensure that you never have to go through this, because the better your credit is, the better the quality of life that you will have. Now, you really just need the right guidance and coaching. That's where you're lacking at. You don't have people that's going to show you the receipts of where you can go. You don't have people that's showing you the correct path of how to get there. And that's why you need a mentor. That's why you need a coach, etc., to help you propel to these next levels. So today, I'm going to be breaking down how to go from 0 to 150,000 in funding without proof of income. Even if you have no knowledge of credit, even if you don't understand anything that I've said thus far, just stick with me. It would be very beneficial to you to watch this full training to ensure that if you can't use it for yourself right now, you can help somebody else, and then you can start generating revenue. Now, you have the ability to do this. I just want to get that out of the way. I don't care where you're at in your journey. You have the ability to do this. I just need you to focus and then just hear what I'm saying. You may have to watch this multiple times, as some of the verbiage that I use is high level, but I'm going to do my best to keep it at surface level and then work my way up. So as long as you have a 620 credit score, you can go and get access to capital. This may be alternative lending, but you can go and get access to capital with as low as a 620 plus credit score. Now, it's not ideal, and this is what I call expensive money, because you wouldn't be able to get the 0% interest business credit cards, right? You may have to go with a credit builder, and I'm going to get into credit builders and all of those different things as I go into this presentation. But first and foremost, you don't want to build the foundation of your credit off of credit builder accounts, because whenever you get to the business credit side and we're going for these higher limits, comparable credit is very key. Oftentimes people will look at the credit score, not the credit profile. The credit profile will outweigh the credit score any day of the week and twice on Sunday. So my goal with you is to simplify the process for everybody to understand. And I want to reveal the secrets that the bank don't want you to know, because remember, I'm Dub Washington and I do two things. One, I ensure that you eat. And secondly, I make the banks compete to lend you money. And that's what I'm here to do today. Now, I want you to leave this presentation, this masterclass, with a solid understanding of how to do it. Because if you don't leave with a solid understanding of how to do it, then I haven't done my job. Now, your goals. I'm assuming that you need access to capital. That's the main reason why you're watching this free training, is that you want to fix your credit, or you want to scale your business credit either from 5 to 6 figures or from 6 figures to 7 figures. I have amassed well over $2 million in funding. We're around 2.3 million at the time of this recording, and I've done it in a strategic way. I leverage a little bit of manufactured spending. I leverage a little bit of structuring future funding rounds, all of which we're going to get into today. But like I say, I want to make sure that the banks compete to lend you money, and I want to make sure that you eat. Now, this call, right, this masterclass, this is for anybody. I don't care what level you're at, whether you're trying to fix your credit, or if you are going from 5 to 6 figures in funding, or if you're going to 6 to 7 figures in funding. You will be able to get valuable information, valuable gems from this presentation here. Now, if you stay to the end, listen, bro, I'm going to give you a secret funding sequence that I provide to my funding clients to ensure that they get access to their first 100 to 150,000. Now, what you got to understand is most banks will pull from Experian. So typically, whenever you start off your funding rounds, you may want to go to the underutilized bureaus. You may want to go with TransUnion. You may want to go with Equifax. But the primary thing here is that you understand where the bank pulls from. And I get into this a lot in my secret lenders list. I get into this a lot into my bank auditing ebook, to where you need to have a list of questions that you ask the banker to ensure that you fit the requirements to get maximum funding. Now, we don't go where everybody else go. We do not go where everybody else go. Have you seen where you will go and on TikTok, you will go and see reels or viral posts on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, etc., where a lot of people go to a certain bank and then they go and apply for credit? Even if you are qualified to get funding from that bank, I wouldn't recommend that you go there, because the restrictions are going to get higher the more applications that come through. Let's say, for example, that an institution on average gets 100,000 business credit applications a month. And then the bank goes viral for their application rules, for the requirements, etc., whether it's no doc, low doc, etc. And a lot of people go there, right? And then what ends up happening is the restrictions or the requirements get a lot tighter due to the mass applications that's coming in. So we don't go where everybody else go. We structure our future funding rounds. We build out deposit relationships, because the goal is to make the banks compete to lend you money. And that's what I'm here to show you today. Now, my 3 biggest secrets to get you your first 50 to 150,000 without proof of income is how to secure funding with less than an 800 plus FICO. A lot of people think that you must have the higher the credit score, the more that you can get funding. That's not always the case. Secret number 2 is how to stack credit cards, also known as credit card stacking, to get access to anywhere from 50 to 150,000. And then my last secret that I'm going to break down with you guys today is the top 10 banks that's going to fund new LLCs. So listen, man. It's been a lot coming into it now, but sit back, say your grace, and let's jump into it. All right. What does a fundable report look like? A lot of people will look at the credit score, not the credit profile. You will need a 720 plus, right? A lot of people will say 680. A lot of people will say 620, but that's for alternative lending. That is expensive money, in which if you're starting your journey out and you just want to jump into entrepreneurship, you don't want to have your funding being very expensive. You don't want to be paying high interest rates. You don't want to be paying, early prepayment penalties, etc. You want to make sure that you're getting the best capital to leverage to get you where you're trying to go. Now, 0 derogatory remarks, right? In the past 24 months, no derogatory remarks, no late payments, no charge-offs, no collection. This is going to be very key in you getting access to your first 50 to 150,000 in funding. Now, I want you to know that banks focus on data points. Data points are key. Comparables, right? Deposit relationships, understanding what primary form of lending does the bank specialize in. So we're going to get into all of that today, and I want to break down pretty much how to make the banks compete to lend you money, right? So now, 1 or 2 installment accounts is all that you need just to get started, right? So 1 or 2 installment accounts, 2 or more revolving accounts. So you want to have a great mix. You want to have revolving and you want to have installment. That means you want to have credit cards. You also want to have loans. You want to have lines of credit. And then these loans could come in different forms, whether it's a mortgage, whether it's student loans, whether it's an auto loan. All of these will go into the overall build of your profile to ensure that you have those quality comparables and data points to get that maximum funding from an institution. Now, secondly, you want to make sure that your utilization is under 20%. We do not want to exceed 20%, as most people will tell you 30%, but guess what? We're not operating like most other people will in the space. We are doing something completely different, and we making the banks compete to lend us money. Now, the average age of accounts at least needs to be 2+ years, simply because you don't want to have a thin file or a fairly new file, because it shows that you have just started, getting access to capital. You have just started rebuilding or structuring your personal sequences and or funding sequences. And then what I personally recommend is go and apply for a credit limit increase on a credit card before you apply for a new product. This is pretty much the gem on how you get high limits, but you keep your age up. A lot of times people will get caught up in increasing the available credit, but the average age of accounts drops for each new product. So that's why we stack the credit cards to go for them in a strategic sequence to ensure that we can maximize the capital. Now, what does this have to do with anything? Banks rely on algorithms that are pretty much almost always right. I need you to understand that. They rely on algorithms. What do you mean by algorithms, Doug? Well, if you have an institution that takes 100,000 applications, right? 100,000 applications, and then they look at the previous history of those accounts. And then your profile comes across the underwriter's desk, and then they see that and they compare it to 100,000+ other accounts. The algorithm pretty much is always right. So if you come in and look risky to them, they may not give you a denial, but they may start you off with a $2,000 limit. They may start you off with a $3,000, upwards of $5,000 limit. And we really can't do much with that whenever we're on the business credit side. So you have to make sure that you understand how to build this up with credit limit increases from the cards that you already have before you go for new products. Now, how accurate are they, right? They are basing your account history on what other people have done. You will not beat the algorithm. The algorithm understands more than any person can. And then with artificial intelligence coming into the banking sector, they have very strategic algorithms to dictate how risky that you are. And most oftentimes they're right. You know what I'm saying? So look at your profile, right? Look at your profile as a transcript. That's what I want everybody to understand. We're not adding a whole bunch of credit builder accounts. We want to add quality. Even if you have to go the secured card route and start with 2 secured cards at $500. In 6 months to a year, these cards will now become unsecured, and then you get a solid primary, also known as a comparable, on your credit profile. This is where we can walk into the bank and show them, hey, I have a Bank of America card with a $2,500 limit. Even though it started as a secured card, it now has graduated to unsecured, and then banks are going to judge you off of this. We don't want to go to tier 3 banks, tier 4 banks, because once again, banks are judging you based on what's on your profile. So common mistakes, right? Common mistakes that I see hurting your profile is people adding authorized users in place of primary accounts. That's not what we're supposed to do. That is not what we were supposed to do. So you have to make sure that you are adding quality over quantity. I know most of you me thinking like, duh, I got a $5,000 TJ Maxx card. I got a $5,000 belt card. I got a $5,000 Target card. But you don't want high limits on consumer issued cards. You want better limits on bank issued cards. We want credit cards from banks such as Bank of America, PNC, credit unions, right? We don't want to build our profile on consumer-based cards where you can only spend the money, or you can only spend the money on the credit card inside of these particular stores. This is not how we build true personal credit. Now, credit builder accounts is not my favorite. I know a lot of people talk about them, and they are helpful in some situations. But for me, I'm looking at a future funding round. I'm looking at what underwriters have personally told me that they look at whenever you come in to apply. Too many credit builder accounts ups your score, but it hurts your profile. I hope y'all getting what I'm saying here. Now, the payment history over the last 60 to 90 days are going to be very, very key, all right? So you don't want to have the minimum payment on a maxed out credit card over the past 60 to 90 days once you are going for funding with another institution, especially whenever you're operating on your personal side. My recommendation is to get that utilization down to 5 to 6% before you start applying for more credit if you already have some. Now, the next steps in all of this, you want to review a tri-merge copy of your credit report. If you are repairing your credit, this is pivotal that you do this, because whenever you pull a tri-merge copy of your credit report, you're able to identify key areas that is pretty much inaccurate. And then credit is supposed to be 100% accurate across the board, not 99, not 98, not 95, not 99.9. Everything must be identical across your consumer report. And anything that's not identical, you can literally get this removed by using Metro 2, by using consumer law, etc. So make sure you pay attention to the key areas of your consumer report to where the inaccuracies are at. Now, what I personally specialize in is developing a recipe, also known as a strategy, to maximize future funding rounds, right? So a secret strategy that I always tell my funding clients that you want to leverage is this. You want to go pre-qualification, right? So you want to know if you are pre-qualified, pre-approved before you even apply. After you've built that relationship, next you want to go soft pull. If you're not familiar with soft pull, this is where the bank can actually soft pull your credit, not issue you a hard inquiry, and then they can literally issue you credit based on that soft pull on your profile. Apple Card does this, GM Card does this, Upgrade does this, right? So you want to make sure that you understand this. From there, you want to go new account sensitive, because you can go through a funding sequence, and then if the profile is fairly new, Citi won't lend to you, American Express won't lend to you, Barclays won't lend to you. So you got to make sure that you add some type of age to your profile. And this is where authorized users will come in at. I don't like authorized users to hide utilization, but I love authorized users to build out age on accounts. Now from here, you want to see where we can double dip, right? Double dip meaning that you can go and get 2, 3+ products and they only pull your credit one time. So just as a quick recap, we want to go pre-qualification, soft pull, new account sensitive, and then now we're at the double dip, meaning that you can get more than one inquiry and they only pull your credit one time. So for the people that's not familiar, you can go to, let's say, Wells Fargo, you can go to PNC, you can go to Bank of America. These particular institutions will allow you to go and apply for one product. You apply for a credit card, they pull your credit one time, and then you can now, within a 30-day time frame, apply for another product from them, whether it's on the personal side, if that's where you're operating at, or on the business side, if that's where you're operating at. And you could get 2 credit cards and they only pull your credit one time. So after we get to the double dip, now we want to go to the banks that pretty much will tell you that they can lend to you based off of stated income. A rule of mine is to never, ever, ever walk into an institution and say no doc. We want to say, what are the requirements to get access to capital here? What documents do you need, right? We never want to say no doc. Now, once we go to the stated income banks, we now want to graduate to the low doc and full doc program. So this will be 6 months bank statements. This will be 1-year tax returns, upwards of 2-year tax returns, along with balance sheets and P&Ls. Listen, guys, it's very important to have this already ready to ensure that the banks compete to lend you money. So what I want to do is personally break down the importance of having the paperwork whenever you are going to apply. This is an example of how I operate. If I know that an institution will give me up to $50,000 with 6 months bank statements, I know that I can submit a 1-year tax statements and then I could get upwards of $100,000. So based on the funding exposure that you want to get, it may require different types of funding it may require different types of documentation. So keep this in mind whenever you are going to apply, right? You want to pretty much already know this ahead of time. This is where auditing the bank is going to be very key. This is what a lot of people are not breaking down to you guys is like, when was the last time that you audited a bank? When was the last time that you pulled the bank's credit report? Because every time we go in and apply for a product from them, they're going to either soft pull our credit or they're going to hard pull and give us an inquiry. So before you go into the branch, you need to already understand the deposit relationship. Like, is it improving or is it decreasing over the past 6 months, over the past year? You auditing the bank this way will ensure that you're able to get maximum funding, because you can understand based on fractional reserve lending that if the bank has more deposits coming in, guess what? It's able to lend out more money. If it has less deposits coming in, it won't be able to lend out as much as it previously have. So keep this in mind as you go through and you start building out with these banks to pretty much make you compete, or make them compete rather, to lend you money. Now, I want to let everybody know something off the rip. You do not need the perfect profile. Once again, you can get funding with as low as a 620 plus credit score, even though it's going to be a higher interest rate because you are more risky. But you do not need a perfect profile to get access to capital. You can get access to biz funding with no LLC as a solopreneur, right? As a sole proprietor. You can literally go and get business funding under your personal name, leveraging your social security number. But the thing about this is that a lot of people try to go the sole prop route, and it's not beneficial in actually growing, because you want to go and get that EIN. You want to get a separate social security number from yourself, also known as the EIN. You want to have that in place so you can start building true business credit, not net 30s, y'all. And we're going to get into that. And then let me tell you something else. You can also get funding with no documentation required. And that is where majority of people are operating at, is that we want the funding with no documentation. Because let's just be truthful. In this age and time, it is very hard to run a profitable business. Some of y'all are in the startup phase and you just like, listen, I need access to my first 50,000 to 100,000 so I can scale to become a profitable business. So just understanding this part is going to put you ahead of a lot of people. But if you are in position now with, let's just say, a 680 plus credit score, me and my business can get you access to capital. What I need you to do is DM me on my Instagram or any social media platform and just DM me funding, and then you can schedule a call with my team and we'll take care of you. Now, my best advice is don't wait. Do not wait until you have the perfect profile to try to go for funding. You're wasting time. Regardless, you should be building out banking relationships via deposit relationships, opening up multiple checking accounts, opening up a savings account, getting an auto loan from a particular institution. But just understand that don't wait, right? The difference between the successful and the super successful is the difference of time frame between execution and whenever they hear the knowledge, right? So I'm dropping a lot of information to you guys today. Majority of you are going to go and just take it for face value. You're going to sit around and just watch another free class. But others are going to say, you know what, I got enough here. I'm ready to take action right now. And we also teach a lot of different methods in my mentorship that's currently on sale right now. So definitely take advantage of that. But we talk a lot about this in my mentorship, and we meet bi-weekly, and we have accountability calls. We have extra stream of income calls, because guess what? We already know I'm Doug Washington, and I ensure that everybody eats. So if that's something that you're interested in, DM me mentorship, and let's take advantage of that current sale. Now, with me being able to go from, let's just say, a 426 credit score to over $2 million in personal and business funding, it was a long journey. Most people are not willing to put in the work or the sacrifice to get access to this amount of capital, and it shows. Whenever I have someone come to me and they say they want access to 100,000, 200, even upwards of 500,000 in the next 60 days, and they don't have a business plan, you're playing with fire. You got to understand that playing with credit is similar to playing with a loaded gun. It can either hurt you or it can help you, right? So once again, as you're going through your journey, I want to ensure that the banks compete to lend you money, and you got to know really how to credit stack your sequences to maximize these funding rounds. Now, the benefits and power of credit stacking, which I previously spoke on, is very, very key. You want to maximize the 0% APR phase, especially on the business credit side, right? You want to maximize the 0% APR across multiple cards, right, for an extended time frame. We all know my 3-5-90 method. You go to 3 to 5 banks every 90 days to open up a checking account, and then we're going to build a deposit relationship with each one of those. And as we build a relationship, we now have, let's just say 60 to 90 days to do this. On day 90, on day 120, however long that you want to wait, but at least make sure that it's at 90 days, you can get access to pretty much what you have sitting in your checking account. This is what a lot of people don't tell you. So if you can get a starter card, right, and you within your credit stacking sequence, you can get a starter card, and then you're going to liquidate the money off of it. Once again, we talk about how to liquidate credit cards, how to manufacture spend, all type of good gems in my mentorship pertaining to this topic. But for this particular training, I'm just going to give you a breakdown on how you leverage one business credit card to get access to multiple business credit cards at 0%. So let's just say that I went to Eline Financial, which is by far my favorite issuer for a structure card. I go to Eline Financial, and the reason why I like them is because on the Platinum card, they will have 0% interest for 18 months. Now, what I'm going to do is, let's say I start with something as small as a $10,000 limit. I'm going to then take this $10,000 limit off of this credit card, and I'm going to build weekly deposits or monthly deposits with the institution that I am looking to get funding with. So let's just say that this was Bank of America. I am then going to go open up a business checking account with Bank of America. And in the process of opening that account, my opening deposit will be $500 to $1,000. And then the following week, I'm going to come in and put $500 to $1,000, right? And then I'm going to make consistent and frequent deposits into this account, because now guess what we're doing? We're making it look like that our business is profitable. We're making the banks think that we are running a profitable business. And at this stage, you may not even have a profitable business, but through bank statements to Bank of America or PNC, whichever bank you choose for your next round, this is going to be very key, because now if they are requiring documentation, guess what? They already at least have 3 months bank statements from you. So what we do is we get 0% interest for 18 months, and then we build out a deposit relationship with Bank of America, PNC, Truist, whoever you may choose, and then we build that deposit relationship with them for 90 days. Now remember, the 90 days is included in the 18 months. So after you go through, you fully liquidated the card, built out this deposit relationship, you still have 15 months at 0% interest with this capital. But on day 91, on day 120, however long you want to wait, we're going to ask them for a business credit card. In my situation, it was Bank of America, and I understood the application rules. Bank of America will allow you to go and double dip, meaning that you can get 2 credit cards and they only pull your credit one time. So let's just say that I put $10,000 into this Bank of America account, and then they approved me for 2 credit cards with a $10,000 limit because they seen that I had access to the capital in that checking account. Now you've turned $10,000 into additional 20 for a total of 30,000, and you still have 0% interest on the first card that you had for 15 more months, and you just got 2 other credit cards with a $10,000 limit, and you have 0% interest on these cards. If it was Bank of America, it would be 9 months, but other institutions may have 12 months, 15 months, upwards of 24 months. So you got to understand like how to go in a credit stacking sequence. Now, from here, Bank of America, they may pull TransUnion. Now I'm going to open up a checking account with Chase. They pull TransUnion as well. And American Express also pulls TransUnion sometimes, depending on your geographical region. So within this one credit card with Eline Financial, the first 3 months I took it and I built with Bank of America. The second 3 months I took it and I built with Chase, right? And let's say they gave me a credit card with a $10,000 limit. I have now turned 10 into 30 with Bank of America, 10 into an additional 10 with Chase, and then I did the same exact thing with, let's just say, a American Express, and then they gave you 2 credit cards with a $10,000 limit, or even 1 credit card with a $10,000 limit. What you have now done was turn $10,000 that you had, 0% interest for 18 months, and you have now turned that into upwards of $50,000 to $60,000. And you didn't even do this with your money. So listen, man, a lot of this information I break down in my mentorship, but I just wanted to come and just love on the people, give y'all some valuable information that's going to help you propel and scale your business and go to the next level. But listen, man, I appreciate each and every one of you for tapping in with me and trusting me with your time, right? So listen, I'm going to close it out with that, and I'm Doug Washington. I do two things. I ensure that everybody eat, which I'm sure that you have, and I make the banks compete to lend you money. I see you on the other side. Let's eat. Peace.